Gunmen in Nigeria have kidnapped 52 students from a Catholic school in Niger State, local media have reported. The government confirmed the abduction at St. Mary's School but said the exact number of pupils is still being verified as security forces search for them. This is the latest in a series of attacks, including the kidnapping of 25 schoolgirls from a boarding school in Kebbi State earlier this week. Rising insecurity has put Nigeria in the spotlight and forced President Bola Tinubu to postpone foreign trips. And I have my guest joining me on the broadcast, Osanyan Taiwo, policy and strategic implementation expert, who's joining me from the city of Abuja in Nigeria. Now, to begin with, I'd like to just ask you, this, of course, is some breaking news that we're sharing with our viewers at the moment. I'd like your comments on it.
Thank you for having me again. It's so sad that we have a situation of insecurity in my dear country, Nigeria, today. And this is actually comprising of different attacks from kidnapping to terrorist attacks in different villages. And now this has even rippled down to what happened in 2014. That is the abduction of some young girls in Kebbi State. This was a reflection of what happened in 2014, where over 200 girls were kidnapped in Chibok in Borno State in 2014. This is unfortunate, and this is the reflection we have today. The good part is efforts have been made. The President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria has enforced security agencies to swing into swift action to ensure that these girls are released immediately. This has also made him not to attend the G20 summit, which I said earlier. And efforts have been made, collaborations have been enforced, and the state governor has been intensifying efforts with the security agencies, from the policemen to the vigilante groups and also to the military, who are working in synergy to ensure that these girls are brought back safely to their family. Although there are tensions that has reoccurred in this situation where parents are being panicked, and there are situations arising from the fact that the area is also being intensified with high security presence, and also not only that, villagers are also a bit afraid. So some people have discarded their homes considering this current attack. One thing that is very critical about all this is that this has some sort of reflection in Nigeria in the space of insecurity. And many may see it as a part of insecurity, but for me and from my overview, I look at it as a political economic front. Before, what we had before was adoptions, kidnappings, and killings. Right now, we've seen that this has become an economic tool in the hands of these terrorists, whereby they abduct people and then decide to negotiate these abductions for monetary purposes. And then one other thing is very critical and very sad is that politicians in Nigeria are now using this as a tool and a weapon to fight the government. This is a reflection of what happened in 2014, where the then president of the country, President Goodluck Jonathan, insecurity was a tool for him to be removed from office. And this is become a sort of narrative that is actually reoccurring again in Nigeria in 2025. Where some certain groups of people see that as a tool to remove the current President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, from government. This is very, very sad, because some political figures are using it to finance their wicked atrocities in this country, and this would not hold water, because then the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Jonathan, may have been a bit timid in tackling this issue, but Nigerians are now well open to understand that when a certain region of the country becomes president, we have this kind of reoccurrence happening in the country incessantly, and this has become a kind of tool that most people want to use as a narrative to shift the government in place away from taking power. And it's just very sad that innocent children are used as a bait for this kind of evil atrocities.
Mr. Taiwo, thank you for joining me on the broadcast. And now Somalia's Election Commission has begun distributing voter ID cards in Mogadishu as the capital prepares for upcoming council elections under a one-person, one-vote system. At the Somali Independent Election Committee headquarters, printing operations run around the clock with 2 8-hour shifts, producing between 30,000 and 40,000 cards daily. Each printer generates 2,000 to 3,000 cards, and officials expect to complete printing across 7 districts this week. Across Mogadishu, nearly 1 million residents have registered to participate in the council vote, marking a shift from previous indirect election methods. The distribution process continues in the coming days as the city prepares for the landmark municipal elections. Despite the preparations, concerns remain about security conditions and political tensions between federal and state governments. Now, Mali's capital, Bamako, is under growing strain as a jihadist-imposed fuel blockade continues to choke vital supply routes. The insurgent groups are controlling key highways which have cut off the fuel deliveries, creating a severe shortage and leaving residents in long queues at the few stations which are still operating. The lack of fuel has triggered widespread power cuts affecting homes, hospitals, businesses, and public services. Authorities are trying to reopen supply corridors, but progress is slow amid intensified fighting in contested regions. Daily life in Bamako is becoming harder with rising food prices, reduced business hours, and increasing frustration among residents. The crisis underscores the expanding influence of jihadist groups and the deepening security challenges Mali continues to face. And that's a wrap on Africa Brief.